Hello, hello, and welcome back. Hi, April. So good to see you again. Hello, Barbara. Welcome. Thrilled to have you here. We are back for day two. Everybody say hello to each other in the chat. If you missed yesterday, then please go in the chat and introduce yourself. Where are you joining from? What is the business that you're building? What do you want to get from today? I just want to get us going. Any fellow Canadians? Diana wants to. Oh, Diana, so sorry to hear about your basement. Oh la 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 la. Yeah, Amrita is from Quebec. Hi, Sunita. Welcome back. It's great to have you back. I want to invite any of you who don't have a drowning basement to turn on your video so we can create a community today as opposed to just like looking at two or three tiles. Really want to see into your eye. Really want to create like this sacred bubble of working on your business, but doing it in the company of other great women and a few good men who are here to create something that is a company that you're proud of, a company that has an impact that turns over good revenues, but also a really high quality of life. And I'm becoming known for this 14 weeks off thing. I talk about seven-figure freedom. I talk about having a ridiculously high quality of life. And it's because I know that you can have it. I've done it, but a lot of my clients, the members of Bold Heart, are doing it themselves. Alex, you're here. I finally get to see you. Hello, hello. So good to have you. All right, Maestra, video on soon. Oh, something about a Spanish tutorial. I'm trying to uplift my up. We are here today for day two of how to take 14 weeks off from your business every year. And I just want to reiterate what I said yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to join us, make sure to go listen to the recording. That we're not necessarily talking about 14 weeks of vacation. I don't take 14 weeks of vacation every year, but I do have 14 weeks of protected time where I choose how to use those weeks, right? So it's about going to the pool. It's about going into town and taking yourself out to lunch. Maybe it's working on your book, right? Your next novel, April, or working on anything that you choose to because you've protected certain days that nobody gets to touch. Nobody gets to schedule anything. So no client meetings, no team meetings, nothing, zero obligations. So I just want you to write down in your notes, please. 14 weeks, zero obligations. Okay. Hi, Anne. Good to see you. Good to have you back. Everybody, video's on. I would love to see into your eyes. If you can. If you're naked, just go get dressed. It's okay. 14 weeks, zero obligations. That's really what it's about. Hi, RT. So good to see you. Welcome. I it's not about doing this someday. It's not like once you get to a certain level of financials in your business, it's not once you hire like the right person. It's about starting to do it this year. Zero obligations, several days in a row, every week. Now, before we dive in, I would like to hear from you. How did it go yesterday with your homework? How many, or just drop a yes in the comments, right? If you did your homework. Now, remember, the two pieces of homework that we talked about was one, what is the one thing you're going to add to your welcome packet, to your onboarding letter with clients? What are you going to say that structurally builds in a week off per month or a month off per year? Barbara, you did it. Barbara, do you mind if I call on you? Just do you want to share like for everybody, just as an inspiration, what did you do? Can you read it to us? Tell us everything.
Okay, I sell residential real estate and I'm in Northern Virginia.
Great.
And when I'm meeting people, I'm going to say, I'm going to explain to you how the business of real estate works and how I run my own portion of the of my real estate business.
Great. Amazing. So how are you going to protect that time? Like what shifts are you making to do so?
Since I'm a solo agent, I think I'm going to have to do time blocks of vacation. And I've
Yeah.
done this before. I've done this for years, but usually there are times of the year like August, late August,
Yeah.
and around the holidays and sometimes in the winter that are better for me to block off time. And
Yeah.
also I like to take designate one day like during the middle of the week um, when you can do, like you said yesterday, you have doctor's appointments, you have, or just a day where you drive away and don't do it.
Right. And you're not available to anybody.
Yeah.
Are Fridays usually busy in your business with appointments or Mondays?
Um, yes, both of them can be busy.
Okay.
Because a lot of listings now, a popular thing to do is make them active on Thursday. So you're going
Okay.
to get phone calls, you're going to get all of that. And then if there are offers over the weekend, Monday is usually busy with doing those.
Okay, so maybe there's this one thing where once a month on a Tuesday and Wednesday, you can just call that a no
Mhm.
appointments day. And you communicate that to your team if you have a team yet. And you communicate that to your clients and maybe even have a relationship with another realtor where you say, on those days, can you cover
Mhm.
for me? And then
Mhm.
on those days, I will cover for you.
Yeah, I've done that over the vacations, especially.
Yeah.
Always had a good friend that we would trade off time off.
Yeah. So here's what I want if I can coach you.
Sure.
If you're willing to accept it. I
Yes, I am.
I'm inviting you to not just do it for vacations.
Okay.
I'm inviting you to do it consistently. Maybe just Tuesday and Wednesday of the last week of every month, just as a
Okay.
standing thing.
Okay.
Think about that, chew on that for a
Yeah,
little
I
bit
like
because
that idea.
this is about giving yourself permission to have time off
Okay.
and not waiting for an excuse outside of yourself. Barbara
Uh-huh.
thinks I'm speaking to her, but I'm speaking to all of you. It's like, okay, we're used to doing this because it's vacation time. You can tell I have the fan blowing on me like it's hot here in Provence. But this is about saying I am going to put myself first. I matter. My time off matters. And instead of waiting for external validation to take time off, we're going to give ourselves permission to take time off. We choose. Okay? Just
Yeah.
something to think about.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Hi, Erin. Good to see you. April, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I had a quick question on this. So,
Yeah.
I'm loving this idea. One of the things that I'm struggling with, and maybe we'll get to today, so feel free to tell me to just wait. But 3 days a week, I lead writing sessions. They happen every day of the week. I lead three of them, and I really do enjoy them, and I do write. Like they're good writing time. So part of my question is that like if I'm taking the week off, do I still lead those? Because in some ways they are part of my like taking time to be creative, but then it also does feel like an obligation. So I keep going back and forth on like, I'm totally off this week except for these meetings, or I'm totally off this week. Like, do you just have some advice on that?
Yeah, so what I do, as you know, I have a Q&A call with all of the members of Bold Heart, usually on Tuesdays. But on the weeks that I'm off, that I choose, I squish any meetings, including the Q&As, on a Monday, which leaves me Tuesday to Sunday completely off.
Yeah.
So what I did was I just moved it one day so that it leaves a whole chunk of 6 days straight that are
Yeah.
unusual.
Yeah. I mean, they happen every day, so I
But
couldn't.
is there somebody on your team that could do it for you?
Oh, I mean, there are four of us who lead these meetings. So I could get subs for them. That's not the issue. It's more of like, what do I want? Like, and from your experience of taking these weeks, is it better to really just have no obligations? Or if there's this one little part you like to like, I don't know, I'm just not sure how to handle it.
I adore the Q and A's. So that's the one thing that I haven't said I'm not doing it. But
Right.
like maybe 1 year down the road, I could just say I could bring in an amazing like mindset person and have that person take over the last week of every month. And if it's super valuable, then the members will appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I
All
have a
right. I have
question.
to,
April, I
Yeah.
want to throw something in. What if you try it a week,
yeah.
like just 1 week, and
Yeah.
then see kind of, because at least for me, like I have a law degree and a master's in international business that I got at the same time while doing all these like extracurriculars and on boards and blah, blah, blah. And I found that, and I have found that consistently, even now, like, that was grad school many years ago, but sometimes I'm keeping myself busy um,
Uh,
to not feel something or to
yeah.
not think something or to not think about something in more depth, like to not go deeper, into myself. It's like I'm also almost using the workaholism as kind of a buoy or a
Oh yeah.
life jacket that I'm hanging on at the surface because
Yeah.
I don't want to do the deep dive
Yeah.
into my own whatever, right? And so try it for a week and then maybe another, or like say 3 months or for one
Yeah.
month. Every
Yeah.
week I'm going to do that, I don't know, some kind of system, right? Some schedule, but then see what happens. Because
Yeah.
you're a writer, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
You're a writer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows?
Who knows? Well, thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, April. Hi, Taya. So good to have you here. Alex, did you want to add something else?
Hi.
I was just saying, I hope it was okay to jump in.
Wait. You have to know this about me, Alex. This is all about the collective wisdom of the community. One of the things that 100% of people, oh, I can't believe I cried twice yesterday. I might cry again right now. 100% of the people of Bold Heart, and Bold Heart's my company. I didn't even introduce myself yesterday. Like some people may not even know who I am, but my company's named Bold Heart. I've been a business coach for 25 years. And one of my unique abilities is to create community where people, I don't even know, how would you describe the community, April? Like I might cry if I describe it.
I've always think of you as like our intrepid leader, but that like you are always quick and I really respect this about you. You're always quick to be like, I don't know who else has a thought on this because not ever like, yeah, it's not always going to be just one person, but there's wisdom in the room. The answer's in the room.
The answer is always in the room. Thank you for saying it that way. And so I believe that the more we all chip in, the more there creates this fabric of community. And I'll just say this, I often talk about this, that women grow their businesses differently than men. Okay. This is proven scientifically because women thrive in, and I want you to write this down, women thrive in community while men thrive in like singular goal reaching. Women thrive when there is oxytocin present. Oxytocin is the love and bonding hormone, which is why I'm always saying, turn your videos on, everybody. I want us to create a sacred community because I want you to be able to say, just like Alex did, hey, can I jump in here? I want to do something. That is what makes women thrive. And that's why the community is just as important as the strategy. I've said it. Very few people will ever tell you that. And so whenever somebody says, "Oh my God, I reached like 1 million in my business," I'll say, what was it? Well, it was I showed up for everything. I did what you said, but it was the community. It was the community. So all of that to say, Alex, please jump in, everybody. Hi, Maestra. Hi, Jerry. Hi, Aaron. Wonderful to see you. So, what I want to do is I want to hear more about the breakthroughs that you had overnight. Hi, Laura. Wonderful to have you here. Um, but I also want to get going on the content because I have the next two pillars for us to work on. So, I'm going to share my screen and I might have to resize it because I used it for something else yesterday. So, just give me a moment. Thank you. Oh, there it is. I didn't have to resize it too much. Let me get you guys over here. All right. So we are here to do great things. Take 14 weeks off of your business each year. Yeah, intentions for today. I love that. Nuts and bolts for implementation of the pillars. We're going to talk about that. So yesterday we named the problem. The problem is that you can't take time off without constantly being pulled in. And yesterday we found your bottleneck, right? Where is it that you can't, what aspects of your business prevent you from taking time off? And we talked about making it doable, preparing clients, setting boundaries, and finding a person that can be your person, your one point of contact. So today is about the method. Yesterday was about the map. Today is about the method. And today is the day that we're going to call the honest day. Yesterday was more doable, like we were like, okay, we're going to do this and this, but today we're going to get some realization so that we can see the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And we're going to talk about the bridge that helps you overcome the gap. So, we're pillar 3, and I'll share my screen again just for a moment. Pillar 3 is team empowerment. Team empowerment. Okay. So I'm going to say something that's a little bit controversial. Sometimes people in business say, I can't take time off because my team doesn't show up and do the work. I can't count on them. I'm paying all these people, but I still feel like I'm dragged back into my business. Does anybody have team members that they don't feel they can fully trust? Just raise your hand or put yes in the comments, right? Put yes in the comments if that's you. I just kind of want to gauge. Even if you have a VA, you may find yourself, or an OBM, or just any team member, if you find that you're trying to delegate and it's not getting done the way you want to, or you keep getting dragged back in, which means that you're putting out fires, working evenings, weekends, and you cannot go on vacation and have it be unplugged. It's that your team is waiting for you because you've set it up that way. Okay. They're waiting on you, not because they're incapable. They're waiting for your response because no one ever told them that they're allowed to decide without asking. Does that ring true for anybody? Right? Have you ever told your team, you can make these decisions without asking me? Can you tell me in the comments if that rings true for anyone? Okay. What if we're going to talk about that, Alex? Thank you. Not yet. Okay. So write this down if you will. It is a permission issue. My team cannot make decisions on their own because I haven't given them permission. Yeah, we believe in empowering our team, but we don't necessarily do it. So your people, your team, whatever, whoever supports you isn't the problem. It's the absence of permission that is the problem. And permission is something that you can hand over very quickly. Now, I'm going to show you how to do that without making the mistakes, but I want you to see, I'll give you some examples from my own business. Remember when I was telling you yesterday that I was burnt out? I had my 3 children and I was working evenings, weekends, and never able to go on vacation without my laptop. One more email and mommy will be right there. That's because I essentially cut my team members off at the knees. I had to be involved in everything. And I never went away and said, you can handle this without me. And I'll give you examples. So when I do in-person events, today, I don't need to be there at all, whether it's 350 people in the room or 12 people in the room gets set up without me being there. But it didn't used to be that way. It used to be that I was moving the tables and running to the back of the Marriott saying, "Can anybody help me? We don't have tissues on the table," etc. Because at my meetings sometimes we cry. And it was because I didn't empower people to take care of it. And so the way that I change that is to say, and Erin, I'm thinking about, right, your team at the Pilates studio, right? If you let them know that they can set up the room without you and you give them specific instructions, they don't have to come to you and say, "How do you want it, Erin? Fabienne, how do you want, etc." Well, Carrie Ann. Um, the whole idea is that you tell them, and the way that you tell them is they need a rule. They need you to give them rules of how it's supposed to look like. So, for example, my job is not to be available, right? So, okay, let me give you another example from doing in-person events. I used to be the one picking out every single thing that would be on the buffet for the clients when we had the events. But once I created the rule, we have this, we have this, we have this, we never have this. If we get chips, if we get sandwiches, we always have chips. We only do events that are beautiful. We always have flowers on the table. We always have tissues on the table. This is what the flowers look like. I know it sounds like really controlling, but this is why I don't have to be involved. This is how the tables get put. It's round tables seated for 6 people, 3 on this side, 3 on this side, etc. So when the meeting starts at 9, I can walk in at 8:55 and I know that everything's going to be done. Okay. What does that say to you? I'd love to hear some thoughts in the comments. How is that not necessarily the case with what you're doing now in your business? Or, for example, I used to schedule my own clients way back in the day until I gave my team permission to schedule client meetings for me, but I gave them very specific rules. I want 15 minutes in between every client appointment. I have to go powder up, powder my nose. If I want the meetings on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I showed you my operations manual yesterday. I don't want meetings before 9:15 and after 4:45. My lunch break is this. And if it's a client meeting, I want it color coded this way. And if it's a prospective client meeting, I want it color coded this way. What are you getting from that? Anne, what are you getting from that? Do you mind? I just want to call on some of you. Did you hear me, Anne? Yeah, good. What do you get? What's your insight based on what I'm sharing? Oh, Anne, I was calling on you. Do you want to share?
Did you ask me?
Yes.
I got it. Well, I enjoy it very much because it's about having clear instructions. And when they are very clear about do's and don'ts, then it's easy to follow through and you delegate the responsibility and you empower people to go about it. So, well, I'm coming from learning. So having clear boundaries, having
Yeah.
a clear setup, that also gives people a way to find a solution if the first thing won't worked out. If the specific flowers weren't there, then at least they can find some other flowers,
Yeah.
etc. So they can think in solutions. So it's help to self-help. And maybe it's not exactly as you wanted it to do, um, but there is a certain standard that is met every time.
Yeah,
And there
clear
are,
parameters, right?
yeah, yeah. So these are some of the thoughts that I got.
Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted you to get. And I understand, like even hearing myself, like, oh, wow, Fabienne, you seem very controlling. It's actually the opposite. I want to be so specific that one, I'm not involved, and two, they don't make a mistake. Because let me tell you, I've had hundreds of team members in the last 25 years. And your team members, no matter how seasoned, they are scared to make a mistake and let you down. They are terrified of letting you down, which is why they're so like, oh, Anne, do you want it? Do you want these flowers or these flowers? And do you want the chairs this way or that way? And you want to say like, not meanly, but like take care of it. It's okay. But because they're so afraid, they want to keep their job, they want to make you happy, they're going to drag you back in, friends. They're going to always call you, ping you, drag you back in because they want to do such a good job. And the way that you have them do a great job and not involve you is to tell them what the rules are. And so your job is actually not to be more available. It is to write the rules down once so they stop needing to ask. Write that down, okay? Write the rules down once so they stop needing to ask. Absolutely, Carrie Ann. It's also about letting people be creative within the parameters, right? So I can say to somebody, like for this event, the 14 weeks off landing page, I was like, here's what I want it to say. You guys, you know what the brand colors are, you know what our brand style guide says. Go build it. I looked at it, I was like, brilliant. It's perfect because I gave them the guidelines. So I also want to share with you that you can create some decision tiers. Tiers meaning TIERS, decision buckets. Okay. And once I understood that there are 3 decision buckets, it made it available. It gave permission to my team to do things without me. So I'm going to share what the 3 decision buckets are. Bucket 1 is decisions that anyone on the team can make without me ever. Right? These are the small ones where the cost of a wrong call is small, it's reversible, it's not a big deal. So bucket 1, anyone can make that decision. It could be refunding somebody on a certain amount. Is it rescheduling a call? It's approving like a standard expense, answering a common client question in a certain way. I don't need to be brought in for that, right? Bucket number 2 are decisions that my COO, so my Chief Operating Officer, fractional COO, can make, but the rest of the team cannot. So these are decisions that have bigger stakes, but it's still, Fabienne's not dragged in, right? So these are bigger things. Not everybody can make the decision, but then that decision is made by my COO. Now, we talked about OBMs yesterday. We talked about VAs, fractional COOs, integrators, things like that. It could be hiring a contractor under a certain budget. I'll tell you, I rarely am on an interview these days. I actually have one coming up, but it's really going to be a 5 or 10-minute thing because this person is replacing me in a minute role in my business and I just want to get her energy. But for years, my COO hires and fires. It could be handling a certain type of situation, deciding whether something is urgent enough to interrupt my time off, things like that. So that's bucket number 2, decisions that a VA, an OBM, or a COO can make, but the rest of the team cannot. And bucket number 3 is the genuinely rare decisions that are actually mine to make. Right? And that bucket is tiny. And when you realize that there are three buckets, you understand that almost nothing is actually yours to make. And no one's ever told you that. We tend to think that 100% of the decisions are ours to make because it is our business. And so when you have the three buckets, and I'm going to give this to you as your assignment if you want to play along, right? If you want to actually do some coaching tomorrow and play along, we can do the different buckets overnight and just put some things. Okay, like what goes in bucket one? It'll take you about 15 minutes to do this. Okay. What goes in bucket two? What goes in bucket three? Only I can make these decisions. And then it's about having if this, then that parameters. Because the magic isn't just in the buckets, it's writing if this happens, then this is what you do. If that happens, then this is what you do. And to Alex's point earlier, like what if they make a mistake? Again, you're documenting exactly what happens. So, and we'll talk about the operations manual in a second, but it's about giving your team the tools to succeed. They want to do a good job. You don't want to be pulled in. This is when you say, okay, when this happens, you do this. I'm about to go away for 1 week, right? Team, if this happens, you do this. If this happens, you do this. If this happens, you do this. And because it's all documented, it doesn't stay in their head. This gets documented. Then they feel empowered to make a decision without bringing you in. And before I wrote those things down, every single one of those things would come to me. And after I wrote all the if this, then that, then none of them did. It's the same situation, it's the same quality of outcome, but it doesn't involve me anymore. And this is what I want for you, because if you're not involved anymore, then you can take that week off at the end of every month. You can take that month off in August if you wanted. Okay. And this can apply to a launch, right? If we're doing a launch, like for example, what I'm doing right here, this event, there were some things I was involved in because it was bucket number 3, only Fabienne could answer, but a lot of things were handled by my team where it's all documented. I wasn't pulled in. So other people could have a 3-day event like this and be working really, really hard. I actually just attended a 3-day event a couple of weeks ago, much like this. And the woman said, "You have no idea how hard I worked to put this together." And I was like, that's funny. Not judging, but it's like, it's probably because you were involved in everything. Okay. So it could be scheduling recurring client meetings. It could be events, like I said, it could be uh, ads, it could be financials other than like signing and final approvals. So what I want to talk about in conjunction to this is the how your COO, your OBM, they create the protected week. This is what makes the last week of every month possible. And the way you do that is by documenting everything. Now notice it's not that nothing happens during those weeks off, or nothing happens in that August that you're going to take off. Things are going to happen, right? People are going to write in about something. People are going to say, "Oh, if I bought this and this, can I have a this?" And decisions come in, or questions come in. And things are going to happen. Decisions are going to get made. Fires are going to get handled and put out. It's because the rules have been built before you step away, not during. Right? So remember when we said yesterday that some of you go on vacation and you don't tell your clients? That's what involves you when you are on vacation. So when I say that your business runs without you, I don't mean that it's a business that stops requiring any decisions. It's a business where the decisions have been moved off your plate on purpose in advance, one rule written down at a time. Who has a question for this? That's the work. And I know it's unglamorous, right? I mentioned, yeah, when you go away for a week or however long, you come back to a nightmare because these these things have not happened. So many emails because you're still responsible for all the emails, Alex, right? So, like I said, it's not glamorous work. It can take some time, but every rule that you write is a question you never have to answer again. And so that's your assignment tonight, is to create the buckets. Erin, what is your question?
I have more of a comment than
Yeah.
a question because this is something I've been working on. And this week earlier, I just handed my teachers the draft of the instructor handbook. And it has,
Oh,
and they were so happy to get it. Um, and many of the things I put in, I would put in like, this is how I want this studio to look when clients get here. But at the top, I put, this is why we're doing it. This is the purpose. And then there were
that's it.
several things that I'm like, if this happens, then this is what I want you to do. And I just am like clapping internally because it took me so long to like drag through it. But part of it was, what's the decision process that I go through when I
Yeah.
think about what to do in these situations? And I just wrote it down, and now they can make the decision. And it
Yeah.
feels so liberating.
I always want to applaud you, Erin, because you haven't been in this program for very long. What has it been, like 6 or 7 months?
Not even the
Not
end of
even.
February. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 or 6 months, and you have turned everything around. You used to be involved in absolutely everything, if I can say, like even taking out the garbage at the studio.
Oh, yeah. Everything.
And now you've moved from doer to leader. This is really profound, everybody. Erin has transformed this by writing things down, by stepping into her leadership identity. We were just talking about this the other day, right? And I just really want to applaud you. And this is yet another way that you're showing up. High five.
Thank you. I still
It's
have a
right.
long way to go, but
Of
I just
course.
am going to keep doing these baby steps. That's
It's
what I've
just
decided.
it's just baby steps, right? That's all it is. One foot in front of the other. So kudos to you. I would love for you in the chat, friends, to name one decision that your team currently brings to you that they could honestly do without you if you wrote a rule around it. April?
Oh, I wanted to piggyback on Erin and share. I've been doing this too, like putting together, we call it our playbook. And the additional shift that has happened is that when something goes wrong, people aren't like afraid to come tell me because when something goes wrong, it's like a genuine opportunity to fix our playbook. And I'm like, okay, that did not happen like we wanted it to. How do we fix it so it doesn't happen again? And it just like, it changes the whole attitude of the company of like, no one's in trouble because something went wrong. There's like, oh, okay, how do we fix it? And it's such a game changer.
It really is. And I really appreciate that you're sharing that because there's a woman here who thinks like, oh no, I could never let that thing go because what if there's a mistake? But even if there is a mistake, it's an opportunity to fix the system so that it becomes more foolproof in the future.
And then it
And
never happens again.
yeah, and then your team feels really empowered. If you've ever read the a book by Daniel Pink called Drive, team members thrive more from feeling autonomous and they have power to make decisions than because of the money you pay them. And so an empowered team wants to stay with you longer because they feel more valuable. They want to do right. Thank you, Erin, April. Thank you, Erin, and thank you, April. So pillar number 4 is the operations manual. This is the thing that doesn't sound very sexy, and I know you think you don't have time for it, but we're going to get into it because the operations manual, and I'll tell you how I built mine and how you can build yours, is the secret to the freedom. You can have the right team, you can empower them, but if you haven't written everything down, then it's going to live in your head. Right now, I'm guessing everything currently lives in your head, right? Which is exactly why you can't leave for vacation for a week or 2 weeks, right? We talked yesterday about could you leave for 2 weeks and have the business continue to make money? And most of you said no, because everything lives in your head and everything is requires you, which is where the manual comes in, right? So we've got to get all of these things out of your head and on paper. And I just want to make a distinction. The operations manual isn't a document. It is the difference between a business that owns you and a business that you own. People often look at it like, oh, I have to do an operations manual. It's so boring. And then even if they create it, they leave it. It's like they don't update it. The way that I build mine, and for mine is a living, breathing document that gets used all the time. And I invite you to do the same with yours. So here's how I built mine. Every time I did something more than once in my business, I documented it. Every time you do something more than once a year in your business, you document it. At first, it was like, okay, how am I doing this? If it was like, I remember the first time I was documenting how I would send out cards. It would be like, okay, first I opened this. Okay, it felt tedious, right? Okay, the website is called sendoutcards.com. Put it in the operations manual. Then scroll down to this type of category. Okay, scroll down, and I would actually take an image of that and put it in there. And then the text is this, and then the color and the image is this. It felt laborious, but I did it once. And 20 years later, I'm not doing the send out cards. Do you get it? Nod your head if you get it, right? That's how I started. In the beginning, it was me doing it, and it felt heavy. But then I asked my team to interview me, and then they documented it. You can even have AI document your processes now. A lot of the times it will do it for you, and then you go and tweak it. How does a client get onboarded? You can just have somebody interview you, throw it into AI, and you create the ops manual, right? How an event is set up. And the thing is that the way that it continues to be an operations manual updated is that I say all the time to my team, let's put that in the operations manual. Do this with me. I know how silly it is, but we're going to do it together. Let's put that in the operations manual. Do it with me, just like it's silly. Let's put that in the don't forget to put that in the operations manual. Oh, let's update the operations manual. Otherwise, it gets stale, right? So if you're sitting there realizing like, oh, shoot, I have almost nothing written down, just know that that's completely normal. I work with people who are at multiple six figures, sometimes seven figures, and they have nothing written down. You would be shocked to see how many seven-figure businesses run on the founder's memory. Okay. And this is what we do. It's just the next thing to build, right? And you don't have to do it. The way that I teach our members to do it is there are categories, right? I'll give you would you like the 5 categories? The categories are marketing, sales, operations, finances. I think just 4. Operations, marketing, sales, finances, and hiring. Team.
Hiring?
Yes.
Did you say hiring team?
Yeah, team hiring.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Maestra. Um, you can't sell your business or exit if everything is in your head. That's absolutely right, Carrie Ann, right? Aaron, you had nothing written down a few weeks ago, but now your operations manual is building. It doesn't have to be the heavy lift that you think it is because you're going to involve your team, right? And so what I'd like to do now, just to land the plane, is help somebody here. Is there someone here? Because I want to make it real and I want to show you how it works. Is there somebody here who is having trouble imagining taking a week off? Just raise your hand, like where it says raise hand, and who would like me to coach you for 5 minutes. What is the reason you can't take time off? And how to empower your team and write systems so that you don't have to get pulled back in. Who wants Taya? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So tell us what your business is. What does your business do? What's your team? And then what would fall through the cracks if you took 1 or 2 weeks completely unplugged?
So nice to meet you. Hello, everybody. It's been great. Yesterday was amazing. Um, I watched the replay, but it was really fantastic because I literally woke up thinking about this and I immediately spoke with the person who I'm going to empower to be that in between person. And this woman has been asking me for like 10 years to do this. And every now and again, she'll just drop a sentence. You don't like that. You don't like that. But I think I didn't understand the value of it because so often Fabienne is, I feel like I would delegate things and they wouldn't get done the way I wanted them to. So I just ended up feeling like, what's the point of this? It's just double the work for me, which of course is the wrong thinking, but it was the bucket that I fell into. So this has been really eye-opening for me because for those reasons. Okay, so the question on the table is, my name is Thea, also known as Manorama. I teach Sanskrit, the language from India. It's an ancient language, original language of yoga. So I teach Sanskrit, yoga philosophy, and yoga meditation. And I developed two methods for one for learning Sanskrit more easily with a caring energy because it's a very precise and extensive language. And the other is I trained with a yogi since I was 12, 13 years old. So he treated me like a granddaughter. And I was able to, before he passed, learn the complete system. And so now I'm a lineage bearer. So I teach people how to understand this knowledge and how to integrate it into their own lives, like Upanishads, ityadi. So, what was the other question?
What is it that would fall through the cracks that you're still holding on to that somebody would have to drag you back in because if you were to take time off. So let's say I invite you, today's the 29th, next week is August 3rd, and I invite you to take the whole week off. What aspect of your business would somebody call you and involve you because for whatever reason?
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Once you put it that way, I got it. So,
Okay.
most people have like an inner circle of like 25 to 30 people, then an outer ring of 50, then another ring of 100, and then after that it goes to 1,000. And if mine is kind of like multiplied by 10. So when an ordinary, like regularly, we have like a crisis in our lives every 1 or 2 months. But in my world, it's like 5 a week of different people who are in my world of the students. So I think that my biggest difficulty is that if I go away, I just know somebody's going to have their mother passed, this happened, they hurt their leg, their kid is driving them crazy. And so like a whole bunch of things. So whatever is the difficulty that they're dealing with that they would normally ask me, let's say in a meeting or in a class, they're going to be like, aren't you there? Aren't you there? And so that worries me because I am there, but I'm also human and need to take time off. So this is why I was drawn to this particular class. So it's the taking the time off isn't leaving that, but it's also like human to need time off. I'm sure everybody can relate.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because when our clients go on vacation, they don't expect us to call them and to
Mine,
be available.
mine do, but I think I've trained them, and I think
That's
I'm
the that's
untrained.
that's the thing, right? So there are a bunch of things in here, Thea. Some of them we talked about last week, which is to educate your clients that you need time off too.
Yeah.
And that I'm sure that part of the things that you teach is about self-care.
Yep.
Is
I
that
would
included?
definitely agree. Yes.
And so on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, I have so much self-care in my life, and 1 being like, not that much because I'm taking care of everybody else but myself. Where are you on the scale of 1 to 10?
Well, I think that has been lower in previous years, not on purpose. I mean, it's not like you teach something, but you don't heal yourself. It's more like
Yeah,
my job started to get bigger and bigger, and I didn't have the system set up to get bigger and bigger. So I would say now it's about hovering between a 6 and a 7, which is not bad. It could have been a
it's
lot
not bad.
lower previously, but I would like it closer to 10.
Yes, and I would like it closer to 10 for you too. So, one of the things that I would invite you to do between now and tomorrow is to really think about who on your team you could pass the baton to. Is there another teacher? Is there somebody that could be in customer care? Someone who could reach out to the client and say, Thea is taking some well-deserved time for herself. She'll get back to you, or somebody who could just step in and take care of that for you. But where you have shared with the clients that this is a trusted individual. See, right now you are set up, you've educated all of your clients to see you as the rescuer,
Mm.
the one who steps in and saves the day. When I teach this, giving access and permission to the team to step in and take care of things for us, sometimes there is an ego death in the sense of like, what? Totally? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I think that, like I said, I think it could have been. I always tell people I'm recovering from my Jesus complex. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, I mean, not literally, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not interested in saving anybody, but I'm happy to ride shotgun, and I have wisdom and knowledge to share that can be very
Yeah.
valuable. Mm.
Yeah, exactly. And if you think about it, if you ever want to take a vacation, if you ever want to scale the business, I'm not going to ask how much it makes. If you and I ever have a conversation, just the two of us, I would be delighted to like get into the nitty-gritty of it. But
Mm.
I'm guessing that because the business is so dependent on you, that you're probably not in a place where you can scale it to and add another 0 to it.
Well, I mean, yes, and there's kind of an and. I've been thinking about different strategies and so forth, and I'm really at a break point. And I think my big issue has been that, and this is why this setup with you seems so significant for me, because I have not known. I've seen so many people do webinars, and it feels like they're just pushing you to buy. Whereas here, it feels like this is a framework for people, and you're human, and you care genuinely, and if you would like to work with me, here's the parameters, here's what it looks like. And that I've never seen that before. So I haven't seen the modeling for that. So it's been kind of vexing me, but also keeping me in a particular place where I don't want to be a hack. I want to be somebody who genuinely offers something and has, the ability to take the week off or those kinds of boundaries. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I mentioned. If you said you watched the recording yesterday. One, I think that everyone here, raise your hand if you agree, we're all allergic to hype, right? We don't want hype. We don't want to be sold to. Nobody wants that. At least no woman I know wants it. So what's actually important is for us to feel the trust, to feel like someone is willing to put in the time and to give results in advance and establish that generosity. And we're all adults, right? We can make our own buying decisions. So that's number one, to address that. Number two, when we are so involved in every aspect of our business, we cannot focus on exponential growth activities. I hope you all write that down. If I'm so involved in every client email and every fire and everything has to be done, every scheduling, everything, you are in a reactive state and not in a feminine creation state. And ladies, We create life. We can create a bigger business, but we can't get into that energy because we are so reactive. So the reason we talk about communicating a new way of doing business with the clients, the reason we talk about uh, picking somebody who can or be the point person for when we're away. The reason we want to empower our team, give them the rules, like we said earlier, and then document this is how we do things around here, is because we can then pull ourselves out of the what I call whack-a-moling. Remember the game that some of
Yeah.
us played when we were little, whack-a-mole? You cannot create a seven-figure business, even if you don't want to be at seven figures. You cannot create a business that can scale with you having time off if you are not thinking about exponential growth activities. And you cannot work on exponential growth activities in between client appointments, in between putting out fires. So, what I'm putting forth to you, everything we're talking about in this series, is having you pull yourself out little by little of the day-to-day operations of your business, empower even just a virtual assistant part-time, and write down, here's how we do things around here. Here's how you're going to succeed in these things that I'm delegating to you. And you know what happens, Thea? That's when the white knuckle grip of control gets released, because you start to trust your team and you're like, oh my God, I just had, like, again, tears, like, oh my God, I can delegate this. And if I can delegate this successfully, then maybe I can delegate this and this and this. And then all of a sudden you start to see your life. There's possibility. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You can start thinking, oh my gosh, so if I can get back 3 to 6 hours a day, what could I create in my business with 3 to 6 hours a day?
Yeah.
And just like Aaron was saying just a moment ago, the minute you start putting these things in place, it has a compound effect. And the more and more you do everything that I'm sharing with you today, the more you get your life back, the more you have time to think. One of the things I tell all members of Bold Heart is your job at this stage of business is not to do. You're still going to do, right? You're still going to do, but you're going to move from doer to thinker. I want you to think more, everybody. Think about the next opportunity. Think about that next book you want to write that's going to bring in ideal clients. Think about that next program you want to launch. Think about that next person that can come in and take over some of the things you're doing, Thea.
Mm-hmm. You know, I also sometimes I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be very vulnerable and share, and I
Sure.
think it might be useful because maybe some other people experience this, but you know what, two things that come to mind from what you're saying is that one, like this manifestation of what this work is has been so meaningful to me that it's hard to let go because you want it to be cared for with so much care. But on the other hand, I completely understand what you're saying, that you have to be empowering so you can create the more or also have some space for yourself. And part of that, what I'm understanding is that uh, because I always say to people, I can't create and run everything at the same time. I'm exhausted. I don't have that. You don't make this, like you said, between clients. It doesn't work like that. You need like space and breathing room. So this is all making a lot of sense. I just have to sit with it. But it's been
Yeah. And I think what I want to share with everybody is this is really hard to see from the inside. Okay. When you're in it, it's hard to see how to get out of it. Right. So for me, looking at your business, Thea,
Mhm.
it's so easy. I, I, I don't mean I don't mean to make it sound like,
Yeah,
whatever, but you know what I mean. I've been a business coach for 25 years. I've worked with tens of thousands of women and a few great guys. I can see it. It's hard to give yourself a really good haircut because you're so in it. Does that
yeah,
make sense?
totally.
So in from the outside, it's clear that you're too involved. This is not a criticism. This is self-compassion and self-love, everybody, okay? I shared where I was with you yesterday and how I cried twice because I've been there. But it's clear that you're too involved, and I would like to take a look at your business model and see like what could we change about your business model? What is everybody on your team the right team member? Are they following the right processes? Is everything documented enough? Is there a version of how you deliver your work to your clients that could give them the same or even better results without as many touch points from Thea? There are all these different things that, is your marketing reaching the right people, that kind of thing. And I just want to say, like, if you're sitting here thinking like, oh my God, this feels like a lot, just know that we're taking this one step at a time, right? We're just opening up some revelations. This is just about saying, okay, it doesn't have to be this way. And it doesn't have to be really hard work either. I just want to say.
Yeah, doesn't feel overwhelming to me.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Thea, for being willing to be on the hot seat. Everyone who's here, would you put something in the comments? What was an insight that you had for your own business, or even just one word that represents like, are you having from Thea's, session here? Are you thinking like, oh, there's work for me to do, or I need sometimes the best is to share our baby with others. Yes, absolutely. And keep empowering the team, April. Yeah, thank you for that. What else? What did you get from either today or everything we did with Thea? I'd love to read it in the comments. Um, what I want you to what I want you to take away from today before we meet tomorrow is team permission and the operations manual are the two pieces that make everything else possible. Okay. And yeah, exactly, Maestra. I'd be so empty and not be able to share my skills and gifts if I am going to do it all. I'm rebuilding my business, so it's about incorporating this in the structures I now build, so it's done from scratch. Exactly. Operations manual is clarity for the owner and the team, and it gives you that freedom, right? So today was team permission and operations manual, and tomorrow we wrap it all up. We finish. And I would love for you, even though I'm a single agent, I can have my own operations manual. Absolutely. Absolutely, Barbara. I'd love for you to put one word in the comments that tells me how you're feeling right now. Are you feeling like, oh, this is insightful? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling like optimistic? Clarity for you? Anne? Mm-hmm. Doable, comfortable until the rubber hits the road. Yep, I get it, Maestra. Thanks, Sunita. I'm still too involved, but I'm working towards freedom. It is helpful to have a reminder of what we are going for. Absolutely. Right. So yeah, when I talk about 14 weeks off, it could also just be like a season of breathing in your business and not being so pulled in, right? Reaffirmed, encouraged, steady, optimistic, insightful, peaceful, empowered. Great, great. We'll start every Friday off and 1 week off per month starting August. Yes, Felicia. Woo! I love that. I love that. Good. Okay, so tomorrow we wrap it up. And tomorrow I'm going to say the thing out loud, the one piece that everything we've been working on for 2 days is going to rest on. And I will name it. I will bring it out here and I will tell you exactly what to do about it if I were in your position. That is tomorrow. I'll see you here, same time, same link. If some of you want to stay and just tell me, have a question for me, I understand that our hour ended 7 minutes ago, but if you have some questions or you want to raise your hand and tell me what you liked about today, I am happy to stay for a few extra minutes. Who wants to share something? Just raise your hand or unmute yourself. Even if your video isn't, Olivia, day one is on the replay page. If let me see if I can get you the replay page really quick. Well, you're going to get an email about it with the replay page. So, who has a question for me or wants to share what they liked most? Maestra, unmute yourself.
Yeah, so we're going to Spain in a few days, so we'll be leaving on the 1st, and I've tried to start my business I don't know how many times. So I'm going to say 20 years ago, I worked with homeschooled children,
Yeah.
loved it, loved to be there. And every situation you've talked about, I lived it as just being my own person. But right now, we're trying to lift the business off in my summer because school for me starts on September 8th. So I'm trying to stagger the schedule so that students who want to take the actual class with me, then they'll be, they'll know the schedule. But then I'll also have courses loaded so that they can do it on their own. Um, so my nephew is helping me, and he's totally capable, and he's someone who will take the bull by the horns and do it. So I feel empowered to be able to give him that now, and hopefully to follow through, because that's the other thing I guess I scrutinize. Okay, give it away, give all that stuff away, but then also I need to have a list of things that I need to check off that I'm checking that's done on their part, because things can get missed, and I just don't want it to be, I guess, something that happens and I don't see it, and then all of a sudden now there's a big fire, you
Okay.
know. So there's that. And technologically, if I just have a website and Zoom, I can do what my intentions are for my tiny business. But I look forward to tomorrow. So thank you.
That's great. You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here both days.
Thank you.
Yeah. Who else has a question or a comment, what they liked most? Anne? Yeah.
And what I appreciate very much is that it's very much hands-on. So it's a value and it is doable. It's chopped up in bites. And yeah, I know it takes time. It takes consistency, but getting the thinking is yeah, is very beneficial. So thank you very
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome. One of the things that I've said for years, to your point, is that I don't walk my talk. I only talk my walk. What I mean by that is every single thing that I teach here and that I teach the women who choose to work with me and the couple great guys is stuff that I've done myself. So if I'm teaching you a closing of the sales script that feels authentic and honoring of you and your prospective client, I tell you exactly where to pause and for how long, because I've done it so many times and I've done it. If I teach you exactly what to put in your ops manual, it's because I've done it. A lot of people are teaching stuff they haven't done. Is that true? Has anybody found that? And so I think there's a certain level of authenticity that hasn't been there in a lot of business circles. And I'm allergic to that. I'm allergic to people who are not authentic. And so I am the most authentic version. And if I'm going to teach you something today, it's only because I've done it myself so many times that I can talk about it without looking at anything. Does that make any sense? Yeah. Thank you, Anne. That was really validating. Who else wants to share something who has a question? What was your biggest insight? Sunita.
Hi, this is very helpful because I'm thinking, 10, 15 years out when I do want to sell my business to have it documented. Because, in my retreats business, it's like there's also systems, and documenting that would be so helpful. I'm beginning to do that now. my question is, like we get, as business owners, we get so inundated with emails. Do you have AI sorting through it, or does anybody start using AI to do it? And I'm just unsubscribing like crazy now because I want less is more. I don't want all this junk coming in and having to, because sometimes in that mess is a client email or a prospect saying, I want to sign up for this retreat and I missed it.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you something controversial. It was probably 15 or 20 years ago that I decided I wasn't going to be available on email anymore with clients. Now, I have some private clients and
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
I give them my email address, but I have a super secret code email address. And this is going to sound really controversial, but I was scared to the point where I was shaking when somebody suggested to me that I pull myself out of email. I'm like, oh no, what will clients think? What
Mhm.
will what I will lose the pulse on the finger of what's going on, and they won't. I was coming from a place of offering unlimited email access, Sunita.
Mm.
And what I learned is that 20% of the people never used it. 60% of the people every once in a while. And 20% of the people were really egregious about it. Like, hey, Fabienne, here's the manuscript to my new book. Please read it. And I want your feedback before our call on Tuesday. And
Mm.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you want me to spend 8, 10, 12 hours reading your book? And you're just saying, tell me what you think? Or people who wrote all the time. And I started really resenting my email. And I'm sharing this with all of you who are still here because I made a decision that the more time I spent in email, the
Mhm.
less time I could work on epic things that could actually help my clients. And so 20 years ago, for most of my programs, I removed myself from email. I'm available, lots. I'm more available in my programs than any other seven-figure coach that I know or have heard of. But email is not my best form of communication. So that's a long way to tell you that I want you to start thinking about just removing yourself from whatever your email is. So Fabienne at boldheart.com goes to my team.
Mm.
Are you are you are you shocked? What's good about this?
No, I realized, because sometimes clients would just reach out on the weekend and I'm like, I don't touch emails on the weekend. Like if they send me email, and sometimes they have my phone, so it's like I will respond on Monday. I will not, my weekends are sacred. I do not. And then I do not respond in late hours too.
But
Because I don't want to be on. Yeah.
I have clients who feel that before we talk about this and before they change their email address, they even have clients who have their cell phone number and text them at 10 o'clock at night and expect a response. In my book, I talk about a woman, a former client of mine who was in the dental consulting business, who was at a funeral of a member of her family. And she responded to a client text during that. And her sister was like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And because they're expecting it. And so the the question you're asking me, I'm not answering directly because I want to bring it out and say, if we start having you really rethink your availability,
Mm-hmm.
be available where it actually counts, like I'm available where it actually counts with the members of Bold Heart, not with the little, if I had 80 emails from members in my inbox every day, I would not be able to do this, to
Function. Yeah.
offer, right? To write books, to create new innovative processes. And so the day that I gave up, it was back then, it was my company was called clientattraction.com. The day that I gave up Fabienne at clientattraction.com, I was so scared. And I took my bold heart and I did it anyway. And the next day, it was crickets in my inbox. And I felt so free. And you know what? No small children started to bleed. Nothing broke because it went to my team. And then we created an if this, then that. We created macros, micros in the beginning. Now I'm going into coaching, but in the beginning, it felt like double the work because it didn't come to my inbox, but it went to hers. But then I still had to tell her what to, but I said, take my answer, take what came in, that's the if this, and here's the answer we created, then that, and that became how we answer emails for Fabienne. And over the years, that has grown. So my long answer to your short question is I really want you to start thinking about getting a new email address and starting fresh. That is really revolutionary, okay? It's not for everybody, but that's my answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have one more question or insight or what you appreciated about today before we wrap up and before I see you tomorrow for the final day of our 3-day event? Okay. You're very welcome. You're hopeful and excited. Good, Maestra. You're welcome, Anne. Um, Freedom and free time. Extra free coaching is limited. I value myself that way. Great, great. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Thank you, Sanita. Open your lines, everybody, like I shared with you yesterday. Even those of you who don't have your videos on, just open your voice line, your audio line, because the way we end every single meeting at Bold Heart is that we enthusiastically say goodbye to each other. All right, ready, set, go. Mwah. Thanks, everybody.
Dios.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me. Lots of
Thank
love.
you.
Thanks for bringing your big hearts and your businesses. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.